The following program is brought to you by PodcastOne Sportsnet.
We are now reaching the midway point in the NFL and college football season, and each game becomes that much more important. And on top of that, the NBA and NHL seasons have just begun as teams are striving for early dominance. There's only one place to get in on all the action, betonline.ag. Use promo code PODCAST1 to receive a 50% sign-up bonus when signing up. betonline.ag, your online sportsbook experts and the exclusive partner of PodcastOne Sportsnet.
The following program is a PodcastOne.com production. From Hollywood, California, by way of the Broken Skull Ranch, this is the Steve Austin Show.
Give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Now, here's Steve Austin.
All right, everybody, welcome to Steve Austin Show. I am coming to you from the Silver State. I'm in Nevada at the Broken Skull Ranch 2.0, laying it down to my podcast compound down here in my shop. Hey, man, I got a good show for you today. I told you guys last Tuesday I was going to drop the recipe for my Broken Skull Ranch margaritas. I'm going to give you two formulas. I'm going to keep this open real short because I talked with my wife about the margaritas and my hunting trip and how to put this drink together for about an hour and 15 minutes until my producer, Sean, gets a hold of it, maybe streamlines it a little bit. But I'm yakking and flapping my gums so much, I'm going to keep this open short. First 20 minutes, I'm kind of telling you about my history with drinking beer when I started going through college and drinking vodka, whiskey, and getting into tequila and margaritas and how I kind of turned into a snob as far as what I drink, when I drink, and I'm very specific. And when I give you this recipe, I hope that you try it. I want your feedback. Send me your feedback to questions@steveaustonshow.com. There's going to be two formulas. One is the original, and then the one is the one which I created, and I call that the BSR margarita. You can use all the margarita mixes in the world. If you've got something that is your go-to and works for you, more power to you. I'm a very specific drinker. I'm very snobby when it comes to alcohol. This is my recipe that I formulated. Give it a try and get back with me. We're going to cover that, and then I'm going to talk about my mule deer hunt. For those of you, I'm not going to leave you hanging on a cliff, but if you don't like hunting, there's nothing to worry about because there were no animals killed during this podcast or on my hunting trip. I'm just talking about being out there in the outdoors, things that I learned, things that you can expect when you go mule deer hunting and how to prepare, and some of the headaches, hassles, and horse shit that I went through in my pursuit for a buck this year. Many thanks to Nevada Hunting Services for the guiding experience, Casey and Royce who helped out, and all the people at the lodge that let me stay at their facility. I appreciate it very much. But without any further ado, I'll get to the Broken Skull Ranch margarita formula, my mule deer hunt, and a few other things as I close up this show. Let's get it going. Hey, folks, we're almost at the midpoint in the NFL and college football season, and each game becomes that much more important. Heck, I've been tracking college football this year, and it's roll tide as Alabama is clearly the best team in the country again, while Notre Dame, Clemson, and the University of Central Florida are also highly ranked. And if that's not enough tension for you, the NBA and NHL seasons have just begun, and teams are striving for early dominance. Are you looking for a place for all your online wagers? Well, look no further because our friends at betonline.ag have got you covered. Betonline.ag is an exclusive partner of PodcastOne Sportsnet and our go-to for online sports betting. You need someone to get behind? These are the guys. Don't hesitate. Head over to betonline.ag to take advantage of the best bonuses in the business. When you're there, use promo code PODCAST1. That's PodcastOne to receive a 50% sign-up bonus today. One more time. That's betonline.ag and use promo code PODCAST1 to start winning with your online sportsbook experts. Looking for another safe bet? Go to geico.com, and in 15 minutes, you can be saving 15% or more on car insurance. That's right. Save hundreds of dollars on car insurance at geico.com. Extra money in your pocket? It may just be the most rewarding thing you do today.
This is the Steve Austin Show.
All right, everybody, welcome to Steve Austin Show. I'm joined by my illustrious wife, Kristen. It's the Austin family. We're in my podcast compound. As I deemed it last Tuesday on the show, I've got a bunch of deer heads hanging everywhere. I got my Pearl Beer neon clock spinning around like a rotisserie chicken. I actually have a few clocks in here. My wife says, "Why are you putting that clock right in front of you?" What was my answer?
I like to look at neon when I record my podcasts.
Yeah, I like to look at neon clocks when I talk. So anyway, I'm trying to get this thing outfitted a little bit. I got a Kawasaki work mat underneath me. I've got furniture pads everywhere to try to block the sound. I got the door shut.
Did you talk about the other items in here?
Well, again, we're doing some remodeling. There's a bunch of damn mattresses and bed frames and stuff like that in here. I mean, it looks like shit. Man, I've been telling everybody for the past, I don't know how many months, because as much as a time fanatic I am on a minute-to-minute, second-to-second, hour-to-hour basis of the day, right now it's 11:25 and a half as we do this podcast. I can't remember when I told you guys I was going to finally drop my Broken Skull Ranch margarita recipe, and I never dropped it just because, shit, I was doing other things and basically too lazy to do it. And I felt a little bad about maybe dropping that recipe because I got it from this place that Kristen and I go to all the time in Marina del Rey, and I didn't just want to infringe or copy their gimmick or their recipe verbatim and then give it out without giving them credit. Because I didn't invent it, but I don't want to name the place where we got it from to give them credit because I don't want anybody to know where we go.
You refined the recipe.
Well, that's what I'm getting to. Because I did refine it. I'm going to give you both recipes because mine might be a little too stout for you, but I'm going to give you the one that I got from them verbatim. Try that one out. Or if you are a drinker like me, try mine out. Either one is a great recipe, but the thing is with the margarita, you've got to take your time in making it. And I know you'll sit there, and a lot of people that are bartenders or drink aficionados are going to listen to this podcast and say, Steve, you're full of shit. You can make a margarita in 15 seconds. Yeah, you probably can, but the way I handcraft and slowly construct mine, there is a lot of intelligence, research, tried and true research, my liver can speak for it, passion, and just extreme science that goes into my recipe and the way I manufacture each one. And then, I have my basic formula, but depending, after I take that first sip, I might modify it just a frog's hair and put one or more ingredients back into it to add to it. So I'm going to give you a couple of different recipes, two precisely. I think the second one is the best one. That's going to be my go-to recipe. But anyway.
And what's the name of your recipe?
It's the Broken Skull Ranch Margarita.
Okay.
And we've been drinking these. We start off drinking them down there in South Texas. And let me give you my history with the margarita.
The evolution.
What's that?
The evolution.
Well, not really evolution, but just with alcohol in general. When I was in high school, I basically never drank because I was so dedicated to my pursuit in athletics, football, and track. I was always the guy that was pumping iron on the little concrete patio outside our bedroom. I had this little plastic cement, weight bench, which we all had back in the day, the guys that was into football and stuff. And these days it's all steel plates. But back in the day it was cement and those plastic little gimmick things. And my younger brother Kevin, he'd invite all his buddies over and they'd be out there raising hell, drinking beer. Obviously they were underage. He was a year behind me in high school. And they'd be out there raising hell, and I'd open the damn window because I was trying to get my beauty sleep so I could grow some muscle tissue fiber and get stronger and better in athletics. And I'd say, shut the fuck up. And they'd tell me to fuck off, and they'd keep partying. But anyway, when I got to college, I started drinking a little bit more my senior year, a few beers here and there. My first endeavor with beer was when I was with my older brother Scott somewhere, and he handed me a beer. I won't say the name of it. It was a regular beer. It wasn't a light beer. I thought it tasted like shit. Beer wasn't for me. Well, then I got an athletic scholarship to Wharton County Junior College, and I became a pretty good friend of beer. And I drank every damn shit beer there was, from the cheapest stuff in the world, light beer, to some of the regular beers, and got into, the Newcastle Browns and stuff like that, the Guinness, stuff from England. But in college, in junior college, me and my buddy Robert Webb from College Station, we really got a liking to that Wild Turkey 101. And, man, we drank the shit out of that stuff. And I got another scholarship to North Texas State University in Denton, Texas. And then I was so involved in football, maybe every now and then on the weekends, I'd go get tangled up and, some whiskey here or there. But it was mainly beer, keg beer, stuff like that. People, when you go to somebody's place for a party, it was always keg beer. And then I got in the business of pro wrestling. And that's when it was pretty much a 12-pack or an 18-pack. I don't think they had 18-packs back then. We'd, after we worked at Sportatorium on Friday night, everybody go to the liquor store, and then we'd jump on that bus Jared had, and we'd drive all night to Memphis, Tennessee to do TV in the morning. So that was a beer run. And then, basically my first few years in the business was pretty much all beer. And then I started getting into, because of all my hunting, getting back into hunting, started drinking Crown Royal. Drank a lot of damn Crown Royal. And I always loved the whiskey. I'm starting to drink a little bit of Jack Daniels now, but I run a little into Jack Daniels. Then I got into vodka. And I was drinking a vodka. Well, my wife was a vodka fan.
I liked martinis.
Loved her martinis. So anyway, we've been drinking them damn martinis forever. And Kristen had a house in Venice, still has it. And we was sitting in her backyard with a little chimney going, a couple little bitty starter logs in there. And we'd put a little bit of kindling wood in there to keep a fire going. And we'd have, 2 or 3, I'd probably have 4 drinks.
I barely would have 2.
Yeah, well, Kristen, she was working a regular job. She was teaching every day. And so I kind of corrupted her to a degree. She was already drinking, but once I moved in, it kind of turned into a lot more frequent occasion.
It's just we really enjoyed sitting outside looking at the stars and sitting by the fire playing darts, listening to music.
Yeah, and that was our thing, man. Throwing darts, and it'd be cold, and back in it got kind of cold.
It was
LA.
cold back then, yeah.
And man, we'd start up that damn fire. Anyway, we're sitting by the fire drinking all those drinks, and then finally, years went by, and that was when I decided, after hunting in McMullen County down there in South Texas, right outside of Tilden, that's when I knew that I wanted to buy a ranch. And so we bought the Broken Skull Ranch, back in 2007. And Kristen and I had been drinking margaritas before then. Obviously, her on her own time, me on my own time, and a little bit together.
Yeah, when you go to a Mexican restaurant, you get a margarita.
Everybody knows that Mexican food is my favorite food. So when you go in there and you order a margarita, you get whatever kind of margarita they serve. Now, back in the day, in my formative years, those margaritas were just fine. But, once I got down in South Texas, you're in the middle of nowhere, you got to make the margaritas yourself. So, we went and got the Jose Cuervo brand.
I think it was Jose Cuervo.
Margarita mix. Not bad stuff. Lots of sugar, but in a margarita in general, you're going to have that sugar. So it is what it is. So I ended up, I first started the Broken Skull Ranch Margarita down there in South Texas. That's the name I created. And I was basically using Patron Silver and Jose Cuervo margarita mix. I'd use some salt on the edge of the glass. What else was I adding to them? That's pretty much it, wasn't it?
Pretty much it, yeah.
You can make a pretty damn good margarita using that.
Oh, no, you would add triple sec, too.
A little bit of triple sec here and there. But for the most part, if you just had 2 ingredients, you could make your margarita. And those were fine when you're in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
And that's all you know. And for most people, if you just go to a restaurant every here and there and you just get the different style of margarita they serve, that's what you know, and you either put up with it or that's what you like. Once you find a really good margarita from a place that hand makes them, because I don't believe in all the margarita machines. There's a place we eat at over here. They make their margaritas. They come out of a machine. It's just pre-measured bullshit. It's halfway like drinking just a lime Kool-Aid. Sometimes I don't even believe there's any tequila in there. So those, in my opinion, I've drank a million of them. And if it is what it is what it is. But I prefer not to. So anyway, fast forward all those years, me and Ted Fowler, 361, and my wife would drink one many times right before we would get in the deer stand around 3:30, we'd have margarita hour. And I would mix those Yeti tumblers. And these things were triples, if not quadruples.
Not mine, though.
Of tequila.
But your and Teddy's
along with that margarita mix. Yeah, not yours. Ted's and I's were hot. You could basically almost melt the bottom of a Yeti tumbler with them. Kristen's were not. And also she was in a smaller tumbler. So we'd drink 2 of those before we got in deer stand and sit there and just kind of just enjoy the scenery, watch the deer, and do what we did. And then after we came back from cleaning deer or whatever we had to do, we'd fire up and start drinking beer. It turns out my wife and I moved in together, Marina Del Rey. This is all out of sequence, but we were living together in Marina Del Rey. And a friend of mine turns us on to this place that he's a member of. So we decide, hey, man, this is a pretty cool place. We'll join up and become members. And so, we go there, and I'm in beer drinking mode. This was a little bit before Broken Skull Ranch IPA was created, along with myself, Rob Croxall, and the gang at El Segundo Brewing Company. And this is when I was still fine-tuning my craft beer palate. I went from drinking light beer for over 30 years in every state that I ever worked in, and I don't know how many rings in all over the United States and worldwide, doing celebrations after the show, after the match, or whatever. Once I got through with all that shit, I just figured there's got to be a better level of beer, so I started drinking craft beers. And when we joined up at this place, they had 4 beers, 2 of which were light. The other 2, one was a dark beer, and the other was just a regular, like a pale ale, but it wasn't worth a flying fuck, so I didn't drink it. So since I'm in beer mode, and now I've been through, vodka mode, whiskey mode, wine mode, tequila mode. So since I'm in beer mode right now, but they ain't got a beer that's worth a shit, I need a drink. And going back to my snobby days with left to my devices about the way people make drinks. When you go to a club, and I want to tell that story about that casino we went to, Kristen, about those shitty drinks. Well, let's just tell that story right now, because this will just further the point, and I'm going to get to the bottom line and give you this handcrafted recipe. So my wife and I are at the Broken Skull Ranch 2.0. We decided to go in town and get a steak. Well, I'm going to get a steak. My wife's a vegetarian. So we go to this restaurant, and we walk in, and the host takes my wife to the table. I see the bartender. I go directly to the bar because I know that I'm going to order a margarita because that's what I've been living on here in Nevada for the past year. And my wife's looking around like, where the fuck is Steve? I'm already over there, grilling the bartender, asking him what his recipe is for a margarita. And my wife rolls her eyes because she gets madder than hell at me when I start grilling people about how they make their drinks, but that's how picky I am. Well, you got pissed off at me.
I was, because it's like, I'm not going to go to the back and tell the chef how to prepare your steak or how to prepare my spaghetti or whatever,
I know, but I just thought I'd help a sumbitch out. Anyway.
You just have to let things go. When you get to a restaurant, it's not going to...
I know. I got to accept it for what it is. Everybody's using machines. So, pretty much the guy said it's basically a machine. I'll pour the tequila, it's a machine. And I said, well, fuck it. I gave him my recipe, and he kind of added a few of my ingredients to his already made margarita mix. And all of a sudden, my wife ordered a glass of red wine. I get my margarita, and it ain't worth a flying shit. And because I've been spoiling myself drinking my own margaritas.
And then you have to drink it because he's watching you.
No. I drank it down maybe 2 inches.
Yeah.
And I said, man, this just ain't worth the fuck. I can't do it. So without further ado, here's the recipe for Broken Skull Ranch margaritas. I'm going to give you the original, and then I'm going to give you my version. But first...
watching the sun bake, all of those tourists covered with oil, strumming my 6-string on my front porch swing, smell those shrimp, they're beginning to boil, wasting away again in Margaritaville, searching for my lost sugar song.
All right, everybody, as you know, that is the one and only Jimmy Buffett, Margaritaville. I'll never forget singing on Monday Night Raw, Margaritaville, with the one and only The Rock. Who would have figured that in all my days of pro wrestling that I would be singing with another man in the middle of a ring who I was right in the middle of a feud with? Not in a million years. Nonetheless, I'm about to read off to you a list of ingredients that you will need to make the Broken Skull Ranch margarita, and I am referring to a picture that I will post on my Instagram account, Steve Austin BSR. Here's the ingredient list before we go into the specific recipe. You are going to need fresh limes. Do not use lime juice. That is a piss-poor substitute. Fresh squeezed limes. You're also going to need one of those lime squeezers. I will include a picture of one of those as well. Looks like a pair of pliers. You put the damn lime halves in there and you squeeze the shit out of the limes. And I always squeeze my lime juice into a measuring cup. That's just what I like to capture it in. Obviously, you're going to need your favorite brand of tequila. There's many forms of tequila out there. Your Anejos, your Reposadas, your Blancos, blah, blah, whatever the fuck. Man, I go with Patron Silver. I like silver tequila, clear tequila, and my go-to is Patron Silver. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, shape, or form, but I use Patron Silver. You're also going to need Triple Sec. Triple Sec is an orange liqueur. Some people will use orange juice when they make their margaritas. I don't believe in orange juice. I don't like orange juice. I love orange juice when I'm drinking vodka and orange juice in the form of a screwdriver, but not in my margaritas. You're going to need Grand Marnier. I think that's another derivative of kind of like an orange liqueur, but Grand Marnier is what you're going to need. Also, one of the things that a lot of people don't include in their margaritas is organic raw blue agave. It's like a syrup. It's not honey. It's agave. And I'll give you my secret to breaking that down as I hit it into my mix. And then obviously you're going to need some margarita salt. So that's your list of ingredients for the margarita. Now you're going to need something to mix it up in. Now, if you don't have one of those like metal shaker things with the strainer on the end of it, don't fret, because that's my go-to mechanism that I like to shake my drinks in, because a margarita should always be shaken, not stirred, not just poured in a glass. I was at a golf course the other day, and I asked for a margarita, and the bartender proceeded to put some rocks in a cup, pour the ingredients in there, and then slid it down my way. I was horrified. I was petrified. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. That was the total length of detail that they went into making that margarita, and it was a pile of shit. So I believe that a margarita should be shaken. If you don't have one of those shaker gimmicks, here's some things that I've used. I've got a Yeti tumbler with a screw on top. I've used that to shake those damn rocks and all my ingredients up. Also on my Instagram post, you'll see on Steve Austin BSR, I've got a protein shaker with it's a plastic protein shaker with a screw-on cap. I've used that to shake up my ingredients before. You don't have to have a metal tumbler. You can use anything. Hell, you can put it in Tupperware if you have to and shake the sumbitch up to get it all mixed up, but have something to shake it into. Don't go out and necessarily buy you one of those metal contraptions, because is it handy? Yeah. But is it necessary? No. Use anything that you can shake the sumbitch up in. Now, when it comes to glassware, if you go to a Mexican food restaurant, a lot of the margaritas, man, they'll serve those big-ass, 12, 16-ounce, 20-ounce, 24-ounce margaritas. They're Cadillac margaritas, what they call it, or whatever. And they'll serve it in that big bowl-shaped glass. I've drank 1 million margaritas out of those glasses. I don't like them. They don't do anything for me. All I want is the perfect combination of ingredients in a low-ball glass. Not a high-ball glass. I want a low-ball glass. I don't want just a shit pile of liquid volume and sugar that I got to swallow. I want a predetermined, measured rate of ingredients that taste like $1 million, but it's not a shit pile to drink. So you'll see when we start adding up the ounces and half ounces of this concoction that all you need is a low ball glass. And then the other thing is I specified, man, most times, 10 times or 9 times out of 10, I will use ice cubes made out of ice tray. They're big, they're chunky, they're solid, they're frozen really well, and they'll last longer than smaller ice cubes made out of a regular ice maker. That's me being picky. Some of the nuclear physicists out there, the scientists, will say, hey, Steve, fuck you, ice is ice. Nah, man, this is my fucking recipe. This is how I like it to be made, so I'm telling you how I make my margaritas. Hard ice cubes out of an ice tray. They will last longer. Keep it cold. I like cold drinks. Okay, here's the tip. You will find that when you get these ingredients, when I tell you to add in the agave syrup is a little bit on the thick side. So I will get a paper bowl, which I get from Costco, and the measurement for the agave syrup is just a little swirl of agave in a paper bowl. And you will see that picture on my Instagram account. I take this bowl, this is after I've got all my ingredients mixed, this is one of the last things I add, and I will put the agave in the paper bowl in my microwave for 10 seconds to thin it out. It'll start boiling temporarily, but it'll turn into a complete liquid form. So that's what I do with the agave syrup. So here's what you're doing. When you get your lowball glass, you want to have it filled with rocks. You want to use one of your former limes that you squeezed out to get that edge of that glass wet. You'll dip it into your margarita salt. That's how you salt the edge of your glass. If you throw your limes away, just stick the glass in your mouth and rotate it around while you're licking it with your damn tongue. I've done that a million times. You just want to make the damn glass wet so you can stick the salt to it. That's a shoot. There's many ways to skin a cat. So you've got fresh rocks in your lowball glass. In your mixing tumbler, whether you're using a metal tumbler or a protein shaker or whatever, you've got fresh rocks in there, plenty of them, because you want this to be cold. Don't fill it all the way to the top, because you got to have the action of those rocks being able to go back and forth in the shaking process. So here's what you're going to do. Here is the first list of the ingredients for the margarita that was given to me by the place that I go to. Here it is. Here's the recipe, and then I will give you my recipe. 1 ounce of tequila, a half ounce of triple sec, a half ounce of lime juice, a drop of agave syrup, and then a half ounce of Grand Marnier. Now, to make this drink, what you're going to do is you're going to take your tequila, your triple sec, your lime juice, and after you put that agave syrup in a microwave for 10 seconds, you don't have to. You can just use the agave syrup. It's just a little thicker. And then you can put this in your shaker, and you're going to shake that up. I shake it for 10 to 15 seconds. That's me. Then, if you have a strainer, use your strainer, or if you're protein shaker, just open that little cap. Pour that into your lowball glass. There you have your basics for the margarita. Then, you already have your rim salted. Then you're going to pour your half ounce of Grand Marnier on top. When you do this, you have kind of like a clear, kind of hazy mixture inside the glass. And it's because you've got tequila, triple sec, and lime juice, which almost all is clear. But then when you float that half ounce of Grand Marnier on top, it's kind of orange or brownish in color, and it sits on top, and it just kind of trickles down to the bottom of the glass and just puts that different layer in there. And it kind of gives it a little bit of textured flavor, in my opinion. And that is basically their recipe for margarita, and that's what I based my experimentation on. Now, when I went into this, formulation of my own recipe, I thought they were using a shot glass. It was 1.5 ounces. Turns out it was 1 ounce. I have this big-ass shot glass, which is actually 2 ounces. I measured it. And it was a shot glass that was given to me by the 3 and 20 band when I was interviewing those guys down in Georgia, filming Redneck Island way back in the day. So that is the basic recipe right there. That's the basic recipe I was given. This is what I deviated to, defaulted to, or concocted to become my own. This is the ingredients for the Broken Skull Ranch margarita as I know it. I'm using 2 ounces of Patron tequila, silver. I'm using about 1/2 to 3/4 ounces, a shade under 3 ounces of triple sec. I'm using 1/2 ounce to 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice. I'm using that squirt of agave into a paper bowl, which I nuke for 10 seconds. I put this all in a shaker full of ice. I've already got my glass ready with my rocks in it, fresh rocks. We're not going to use the same rocks that we shake in. I've already salted my rim. I shake the shit out of that sumbitch. I pour it on top of the fresh rocks. And then I use 1/2 ounce to maybe 3/4 of an ounce of Grand Marnier, which I sprinkle in a circular fashion on top of that drink. Then it trickles down, and from there, just let that summit sit there for a second, and I realize that I've created the perfect Broken Skull Ranch margarita. And the way these ingredients shake out, I was making some down in Texas last time I was down there visiting my folks. And I was telling my brother Kevin about this recipe. And he goes, man, I've been looking for a good margarita recipe, but I don't like mine too sweet. So I've gone on Wikipedia. I've gone on to the internet and put in margarita recipes. And there's some that just want to use, like some lime juice, tequila, and maybe some triple sec. Or maybe some people just like, every now and then, I'll just do, tequila and lime juice. That's every now and then. But when I want a full-blown badass margarita, this is the exact margarita that I drink. You will find, if this is too sweet for you, try it first with the agave syrup. If you don't like the agave, simply make another one and eliminate the agave. If you like the agave, but it's still too sweet, eliminate the half ounce of triple sec. I prefer all the ingredients that I've listed, but I'm just saying, for some people, they have a kind of turned off by sweetness, and these things are not too sweet, especially when you got that 2 ounces of tequila in there. I always have a shot of Patron on the side, which I will start adding into the glass as I drink this one, but that's me.
You take about 30 minutes to make your margarita.
Man, I am a fucking scientist when it comes to this. I ain't fucking around.
You commandeer the entire kitchen.
Oh, it's a mess, man, because we got these big ass cutting boards that we used to have down at the Broken Skull Ranch. Someone custom made for us. They gave them to us. I can't remember who gave them to us, but they're badass. So I've got my whole setup there. I've cut my limes. I've got my lime squeezer. I've got all the ingredients that I put in my picture on Instagram. And then, like I said, I add them all into that tumbler, protein shake or whatever. Use fresh rocks when you pour it into your drink. Already have that thing salted, that glass salted, and then float that Grand Marnier on top. Now, make sure you look at my Instagram account so you can see. I'm going to put both recipes up there. You'll see the BSR Margarita is my tweaked version, and that's my go-to drink. And I've bragged about this thing. I've talked about this thing for months and months and months. If you have a better recipe that you like, try this one, and if you like yours better, stick with yours. I can't tell you what you like. I can tell you, and I am telling you what I like. This is the exact formula that I use. And as I've given you that half ounce to 3/4 ounce Liberty, dial that thing in yourself. Experiment. Write this shit down. Once I get something to perfection, this is like we did with Broken Skull IPA. I didn't want to fuck with that formula. I have this thing so scientifically dialed in. This is a margarita that is made by me, for me. I hope it fits your palate. I hope that you enjoy it. I hope that you never drink it and go out driving. I would never, ever recommend that. If you're anything. If you're on a weight protocol, like right now, hell, I haven't had a drink in 2 days. It'll be 4 weeks. I'm getting in shape for a project I got coming up. So I wanted to actually make this margarita so I could go through the motions and talk about it, but I'm not drinking right now. I'm not going to go make a margarita just so I can make a margarita and tell you about it. My point is, if you're going to drink margaritas every single day, or whiskey every single day, or beer every single day, those empty calories will pile up and you will pay the price in the form of gaining weight. So if you're going to enjoy these, enjoy them responsibly. Don't drink them all day long, every single day like I did. Because here's the thing, Kristen, when we go down, back when we used to have the Broken Skull Ranch in South Texas, I was always telling them, we'd make those ones before we go hunting. And then at night, before Broken Skull IPA was invented, I drink a 6-pack of Sierra Nevada Torpedoes.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Those are 220 calories each. I did that every single day for 2 months. And I'll never forget, we had a triple wide down there. And the lighting was like, you'd be like 3/4 through deer season. You're thinking, fuck. As much as I'm drinking, and me and Teddy would go out there and try to slug through a workout. We're sweating bullets because we're so intoxicated with alcohol. No sleep, skinning deer, riding around a Komodo tractor, bush hogging everything. But that was our daily protocol. And I'd think, man, I'm getting away with it. I still look pretty good. All of a sudden, Chris and I would pack our shit up and either drive or fly back to Los Angeles. And I'd get back in front of my regular mirror with the regular lighting that I'm used to. And I'm like, what the fuck happened? And I did it every fucking year, but it's so fun. And it's weird to be up here in Nevada because I just went on a 4-day hunt. I was supposed to be on a 5-day hunt. I'll tell you about my hunt in just a second. Nothing happened. There was no animals killed during this hunt, so you can listen to the podcast if you hate hunting because nothing got killed. But Kristen, remember those days? And the thing about it is, everybody knows that when I was doing Broken Skull Challenge or Redneck Island or whatever, my agents know that I take off November and December for deer hunting down in South Texas. And then we took off, the first 2 weeks of January as well. And then we'd get back to L.A. around the 7th or the 10th, get everything put away and settle up, get back into business. Now we're out here in Nevada. Everything's changed, but goddamn, those were the good old days.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my recipe for Broken Skull Ranch margaritas. I won't just put those ingredients head to head with anyone. I'll put my manufacturing technique up against anyone's any day of the week, any time of the year. All you got to do is give me a call or send me an email to questions@steveaustonshow.com. And if you got a better margarita recipe and you can make it better than mine, I'll kiss your fucking ass. End of story.
Alexa isn't the only one with breaking news. Make sure to hang around at the end of this podcast for the latest breaking headlines on the AP News Minute.
Hey, it's Adam Carolla.
Hey, this is Kelty Knight from Lady Gang.
Hey, it's Steve Austin from the Steve Austin Show.
This is Heather Dubrow from Heather Dubrow's World.
Hey, this is Rob Riggle.
And Sarah Tiana from Wriggles Picks.
This is Caitlin Bristow from Off the Vine on PodcastOne.
This Veterans Day, I'd like to give a special thanks to all those who've served in the armed forces.
From the Army, the Navy, the Marine Corps, the Air Force, the Coast Guard, and the Reserves.
Because of your bravery, we can live without fear.
Because of your valor, we can soar into the bright future.
Because of your sacrifice, we don't have to sacrifice the liberties that we hold so dear.
We could not do it without you.
Thank you again for your service, and all of us at Podcast One hope you enjoy a safe holiday weekend.
This is the Steve Austin Show.
And the other aspects of my life, I finally got a chance to go on my mule deer hunt.
And how was that?
God damn, I've been waiting all year for this trip. For my whole life, ever since I was 7 or 8 years old, walking behind my father in the woods, me, Scott, and Kevin, my dad always turned around with that perpetual finger to his lips, like shh, which basically is the PG version of, or the G version of, would you guys please shut the fuck up and stop stepping on every single stick in the woods? I've been hunting my whole life. We've been hunting South Texas whitetail deer. And hunting in Texas is a whole different ballgame than hunting out in Nevada. So, man, I went out to my last year's hunting trip in Nevada with my brother-in-law, Mitch, from Nevada Hunting Services. Had 5 days to get the hunt done, November 1st through 5th, just like this year. And it turns out the first day we went out there, I think it was the first day, we happened upon a big-ass buck that ended up scoring 175, and I ended up taking that deer. And I've eaten every single ounce of that meat. And I'm thinking, man, when we first started out, they were sitting in chairs, and they were looking through spotting scopes and binoculars 3 to 5 miles out. It was unbelievable. I'd never seen anything like it. And then we happened to cross mine, driving back to a spot that day, and I took it. And I'm thinking, hey, this desert mule deer hunting is, pretty cool. It's not actually that hard. Fast forward to this year. Man, I'm all fired up like a motherfucker. I got my mule deer that I shot sitting right behind me. Got him shoulder mounted. I'm super proud of him. He was a beautiful buck. So I'm thinking, all right, that deer scored 175. I'm going to go for something in that same category. I've been fortunate to take some huge whitetail in my day from the Broken Skull Ranch and in that South Texas area in McMullen and LaSalle counties. And now I'm out my second mule deer hunt. And you realize when you go out there and you're mule deer hunting, and in retrospect, after I got back, I started researching the mule deer. I started reading about its behavior, its patterns, how it likes to feed, bed, the travel corridors it likes. And when you're out there in northern Nevada, in the unit we were in, about 80 miles north, I guess, northeast of Winnemucca, man, you're in mountains, a lot of sagebrush, canyons, rocks, mountains, and we're just riding around. I really don't know, anything about the deer. So Mitch has stopped, and we were fortunate because we had, 4 guys on the hunt. I was the only guy hunting. Mitch was guiding and looking, and he had two of his buddies, Casey and Royce. Those guys are going to help spot deer. It is unbelievable, the eyesight on these guys. We be riding around that goddamn buggy, and Casey, he was probably the best. Royce is right there with him. He said, hang on, Mitch. There's a couple over on the side of that damn mountain. I'm looking, and the mountain is 2,000 yards away. That's a fucking mile. In South Texas, really far as you're going to see a deer on our place. You might see one all the way down to Sendero, might be 800 yards, but most time they're going to be inwards of 300 yards. We're used to looking close. Even when everything green turns brown in the winter, it's not that brown, and you're looking for horizontal lines. And those deer are much easier to spot just because the biggest reason is, I think they both blend into their environments the same way. It's just the fact is when you're used to looking within 500 yards into 100, it's a whole different light year away from looking, 1 to 2, 3 miles out. And then, here's the thing. Kristen, how patient am I?
Not very.
I have never been diagnosed by a doctor with ADD. I've diagnosed myself with ADD. I am fidgety. I am always in a hurry, even where I have nowhere to be and no particular time to get there. I'm in a hurry to get there. And like I told you people, when we had that RV, we still got it. We just about to get it registered out here in Nevada, recreational vehicle. That's a destination vehicle to me. But going back to just glassing, you can park in an area, and we would park in an area. We get out of that damn buggy, and those guys would just start standing there. They'd lean across the hood, lean against something, or go over to the edge of a mountain, a big, like a rock outcropping or something, just to get you back against something, just to sit there for a while. Or sometimes when we got over those ridges, sometimes the wind was blowing 60, 70 miles an hour, just something to break the wind, break your outline up. Those guys just sit out there with those damn binoculars. And I'd do a scan, and like, well, I looked, ain't nothing out there. And those guys kind of had a habit because they've been friends for so long and they've been hunting together for so long. With one of them spot something, they just go, bingo. And then, of course, it'd be Casey usually, bingo. And then Mitch would go, all right, where? And in Casey, it's almost like me speaking wrestling language. Their hunting language was like wrestling language. Okay, you see over in that first draw into this fucking canyon, into that little, whatever, the words they would use to describe the terrain. And of course, oh yeah, Mitch is like, oh yeah, there they are. And then here's Royce. All right, got enough, bingo, got another group over here. And then they set up their spotting scopes. And they're looking at the deer, seeing if it's a buck. That's how far away these damn deer are. And then I'm still looking 15 to 20 minutes later after they've been looking, and I'm looking at where they're pointing their binoculars so I get the general vicinity. And I'm still looking and ain't found those motherfuckers yet. So finally, and they think Casey or Royce and Mitch say, hey, Steve, you find them yet? And I was embarrassed, right? Like, fuck, let me pull this patch off my left and right eye. No, I ain't found him yet. And so basically, I'm exaggerating, but I almost grab my binoculars and point my head in the right fucking direction. After 4 days of that, Kristen, that's when I finally settled in and started spotting the game and started recognizing the game. One time we were driving down the road the second last day of the hunt, just, I don't know, miles and miles in front of us. As you looked, it was just the rounded top of a mountain. But when you put your glasses up, there was about 100 to 200 pronghorn antelope out there, really? All the way across. Yeah, I'll show the footage of them. Oh. I got some that are closer. But you put your glasses up, and all of a sudden, everything would come to life. But if you're just looking with your bare eye, you wouldn't see shit. So anyway, first day goes, and we're riding around, and we're looking, and we come across these does. Last year when I shot my buck, it was rut. So the bucks are all concerned about breeding. They're thinking about the females. And so they get real stupid. The mule deer can see like it's nobody's business. I think they can smell like 1,000 times better than we can smell. They can smell us up to over a half mile away. So their nose is in play, their eyesight's in play, and they are the masters of their habitat, and they love to just lay and hide. And basically, they'll go nocturnal. If you don't know what nocturnal means, that means they move at night. So you can't see their ass. And even if you did see their ass through your headlights as you were going home, you cannot shoot them because it's illegal to shoot at night.
Oh, okay.
That's when they move. You can catch them if you get out there early enough. When the sun's coming up, you can still catch them before they go to bed down. Right there before dark, kind of catch them as they're moving out to the field if they're going to go graze. Other than that, if they're just going to make a sneak to a water source or something like that, that's why. Or you'll just find them huddled up on a hill. They'll be standing there sometimes. But those big, mature, savvy bucks are laid up in that brush. So now that I read that 3 days after my hunt is completed, that's what the fuck you're looking for. And there was a one time... I get to my phone story in a minute. There was one time I separated from the bunch, went over and sat by myself, and I was glassing that brush, and finally I just got really in tune with. In South Texas, you can pick up your binoculars and just kind of do a scan. I mean, just move from left to right in pretty quick fashion, and you'll pick things up. Over there, because of the distance, you won't just pick things up. And because the ones that are laid down in that sagebrush and all that other stuff, those limbs that they're hiding under, you just don't pick out the shapes. You're looking for an antler, the flash of an antler, the move of a head, an ear, the white on a butt, maybe a little bit of that lighter hair on their chest. You're looking for any kind of giveaway. 3 days in the hunt, I guess it was, I spotted my first doe, bedded down in the brush, and I was like, ding, 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 ding.
Bingo.
Yeah. Hello, McFly. This what the fuck you looking for? Now, granted, she was only about 250 yards away from me.
Right.
But the fact I was able to make out the details and see her. She got up because I spooked her because I was standing there, and she bounded off like those mule deer do. It's really neat to watch that. But anyway, on a segue story, when you go out there to Unit 034, there ain't no cell service when you use AT&T like I do. So last year, I never could get in touch with my wife. So when you're gone for 5 days and you can't talk to your wife, well, for me, that's not a good thing. For many people who are married to the wrong woman, that's a vacation. Me and my wife like to stay in touch. So every time we come back to the camp, I would use Royce's phone, who had Verizon. So me and Kristen go down to the Verizon store before she headed back to L.A., and I did her business, and I was going to pack and get on my way to my hunt. Got myself a Verizon phone.
What do you call it?
A Verizon phone.
No, you call it a gimmick phone.
Oh, it's a gimmick phone, yeah, because I'm only going to use it for the 30 days that I paid for it.
Right.
You got to. I think the phone.
Pay as you go.
It was a pay as you go, and my wife made me get a smartphone. I just wanted to get the flip phone because the cell service out there was so shitty. I mean, you couldn't get anything. So anyway, while I was kind of out there before we got to the area we were hunting, the damn Verizon phone worked just fine. Worked like gangbusters. So I figured, well, hell, I'm a busy guy. I got a lot of business acquisitions coming in, people looking to employ or talk to a project to a global icon and a national treasure. Fuck. On the iPhone, there's a button you can push on there, a little green dot, forward your calls. Then you just type in the number you want the calls forwarded to. So I punched in my 775 gimmick phone number. That motherfucker didn't work for shit. I'm sitting there on the third day of the hunt.
It forwarded the calls. It just didn't allow you to make calls.
No. I never got one single phone call other than the one I'm fixing to tell you about.
Okay.
This was that time I called you.
Oh.
Because I would call my wife, and then some mission recording would come on and say, you need to deposit more money using a credit card or this, that, or whatever. I'm like, no, motherfucker, the deal was $40 a month, 2 gigabytes of whatever, unlimited calls. I couldn't make no calls. So anyway, after not getting no calls nowhere, I was sitting on the side of the mountain. This is when I saw that doe. I was sitting there watching that damn doe, and I got my gimmick phone in my pocket in case we'd come into some service. I would text my wife whenever I got some service every now and then. It wasn't like I was doing this every day or every minute of the day. Call me. because I couldn't call her. And so she would call me and I could answer the phone call. All of a sudden, my phone starts ringing. I'm sitting there watching the fucking mule deer. The first mule deer I've spotted. It's a doe. Can't shoot it. Looking for a buck. My phone starts ringing. I'm flabbergasted, shocked, and bamboozled. How and why is my phone ringing? Who's calling? Because I know you're not going to call me during hunting hours. You'll send me text messages. Right. I answer the phone. It's a goddamn lady from Walgreens telling me I got a prescription in. I'm like, well, I'm about 300 miles away, but I appreciate you calling. It was good talking to you. And so anyway, I hung up the phone. My prescription was ready. So I called my wife. You was shocked that I was able to call you.
Yeah.
So I was like having a conversation with scared away every fucking deer in the county. But I was already through with that doe anyway. So anyway, my fucking gimmick phone worked. But you talk about I'm not running Verizon down.
It was a disappointment. Because
it was a disappointment.
You thought you were buying yourself an insurance policy.
But I called a dude. I mean, I was texting the dude because I couldn't call him. I was texting the dude that sold us the phone. He goes, man, where are you in Central Nevada? It's kind of northern Nevada, but central. Yeah, it was pretty much central. He goes, man, there's a hole in that area, and I'm 99% sure you probably have a bad SIM card. So anyway, I'm going to go get that addressed. I ain't going to let that slide. But the dude was trying to troubleshoot it, man. That is just a real remote area. But the fact of the matter that I went to the trouble to get a goddamn phone in case of an emergency, this, that, or whatever.
But we were able to remain in contact.
Yeah. So anyway, I loaded up my truck, and this was the first damn trip I've really gotten able to really put my Duramax diesel to the test. And it wasn't tested very much. I've been driving that thing around here locally. I drove it back and forth to Los Angeles. And man, a 3/4 ton diesel truck just ain't the vehicle to be driving in Los Angeles. You'll see them here and there because there's lots of people that work in Los Angeles use diesel 4-door long bed pickups. But you won't find those pickups in underground parking. You won't find them in Santa Monica on curb parking. We just pull in diagonally because they're too goddamn long and they're too hard to turn around.
And you can't really see like the Priuses or the Bird scooters around you because you're too high up.
Hey, I'll tell you one thing, though. We took that thing out to Ojai the other day. Lynn Thompson and Cole Stills had a grand opening party for this new place he got out there, and we took that Duramax out there. And anyway, so I loaded up my Kawasaki Mule Pro FXT on my utility trailer. It's a 6x12. When I pulled that empty trailer back from Texas in my 03 Z71, which I still got, that 5.3, it would keep kicking down. I mean, that son of a bitch. I love that pickup truck, and I'll never sell it, but it ain't for pulling. I hooked up that damn trailer, put my mule on there. Shit, that damn truck didn't even know a trailer was behind it, and wow. I enjoyed it. And these days, the technology on those diesels, those things are so quiet. And the wind and the sound deadening qualities of the cab of that pickup is phenomenal. So you're basically riding in silence. And, man, I was riding down the road listening to all my country music. Like I said in that other podcast, I'd been listening to that David Ball Thinking Problem CD that I just downloaded off iTunes. I had a buddy of his just email me and said David Ball just came out with a new album. So I'm looking to download that. I haven't seen it on iTunes yet. But after the fourth day of hunting, you know, that first day, we saw a buck that probably would have scored about 150, which is a pretty damn good buck. But it wasn't as good a buck as I shot last year. So I'm thinking, okay, I got day one. I got 4 more days to hunt. So, Mitch, I'm going to pass on that buck. And so I decided to pass. We kept driving around. We hiked. We scouted. We looked. We glassed. We saw tons and tons of does. And then the bucks that were with them were little forked horn bucks. Then we saw an old buck, had just some really spike horns and some trash on his right side. Just wasn't worth the time of day. I wanted to go back and take him just for meat, but we never found him again. So this would repeat itself. Our schedule would be, I would get up at 4 a.m. because I don't sleep. I'd get up at 4 a.m. I'd go in there and cook my 4 meals for the day, take a protein shake, and then I'd eat my breakfast there before everybody left. Everybody else got up at 5. I'd already drank coffee, done all my shit, had my shit packed up. And then we go from the camp area. It's about an hour drive to the staging area. Once you get to the staging area, throw everything into the buggy. All 4 guys loaded up. I'm the only guy with a rifle. Still dark. We're driving about 15 miles into hunting territory. And once we get 15 miles into the hunting territory, we might drive anywhere from 40 to 80 more miles in our search that day, glassing different areas. By the time you usually got back to the staging area, it was give or take between 6:30 and 7:30. Get that hour ride back to a camp. You're usually back at camp by 8, average of 8 o'clock. It's already way past dark. Shit, you're going to have dinner. Everybody else is having a couple of drinks. Then you just repeat the process. I'd get in bed usually about 9:30 because we're getting up so goddamn early. And the thing about it is, like a lot of times in the middle of the day, everything stops moving. So, in South Texas, when things stop moving, well, we lived on the place.
Right.
2,000 acres. So you kind of go home and you do work. Drive the tractor, maintain everything, get all the work done that we need to get done. Well, out there, you're there to hunt. And so you ain't going to see nothing at camp. So you stay out there when the times are, but it's kind of slow going there in the daytime. So many times we'd eat our lunch, maybe doze off for 30 minutes to an hour for a nap. They would. I would if I could go to sleep, but I can't sleep during the daytime. So I'd sit there with my thumb up my ass, waiting to get ready to go again. And so then, once maybe, kind of start glassing again, moving. I mean, we hunt our ass off every single day, looking, trying, busting our ass. And when you're out there all fucking day, and for some reason that wind was just relentless, it damn near ever died. If we was in the low country and we was protected, it was still. But once we got up on top, that first day, my wife called me because I couldn't call her. And then she goes, "You sound different. What's wrong?" And I'm like, fuck, I've been, in 70-mile-an-hour winds all fucking day. I'm frazzled. I'm fucking beat. My goddamn lips are about to fall off. I got sunburn. I got wind burn. I got any kind of burn you can have.
Scratched up legs.
Oh, man. Oh, fuck. Man, those guys made fun of me. I went out that first day, and I always hunt in shorts. I've been hunting in shorts ever since we owned a Broken Skull Ranch down there in South Texas. Had to wear jeans when home with my dad because that was way back in the day, but left them on devices. Hell, Ted Fowler damn near did the same thing. Halftime during December, it'd be 90 degrees. Yeah. We're sitting in a damn deer stand. That first day, it wasn't very cold. Now, I had on a couple jackets, my cap, my ear protection, stuff like that. Wasn't that cold. Next day, that cold came in. Mitch said, "Boy, it's going to get cold tomorrow. I know you're going to be in some jeans tomorrow." "Oh, no, I'll be hunting in shorts." Well, I was hunting in shorts, but I had bought me some black long johns, like an athletic kind. And so it looked like tights. And I had on my camouflage shorts over the top of them. And I had on my high-tech Magnum boots and my socks on the outside. So I think my brother-in-law affectionately referred to me as Peter Pan at one point. Those guys, they couldn't believe my outfit. But I wasn't out there to give I don't like jeans just because they just don't fit my legs good. I hate wearing jeans. Every day of my life in Los Angeles, or even when it's cold here at the ranch, I never, ever wear jeans. But after that first day when you're riding up there and then all of a sudden that wind gets on your ass at 70 miles an hour, you better have everything covered up because, mister, that fucking cold will eat you up. And so anyway, Mitch got the big idea. "Hey, Steve, why don't you and Royce walk over that ridge and glass over on the other side?" Yeah, it sounded like a good idea, logical. There could be deer on the other side, which we cannot see from here, so let's make a stalk on them. God damn. I walked through mesquite, weesach, rose hedge, any kind of thorn bush you can think of in South Texas, and every single year was the same thing. From my knees down and from my elbows to my hands, I was scratched up like I had been in a 30-minute fight with Freddy Krueger. And my wife said the same thing every single year. "Why don't you put on some damn pants?" I wear my long sleeve shirt. I'd wear my Carhartt, when I was going to get a deer out of the brush, but my legs just got scratched up. So anyway, I figured, oh, fuck, all that shit down there in South Texas. Roy said, "Hey, man, that sagebrush is going to eat you up." I said, "Man, have you ever seen the South Texas brush country?" No, he hasn't. But to his point, he was right about the sagebrush. And it's a different kind of animal. The mesquite stuff, the Weisach stuff, the rose hedges, those are like switchblades. They just kind of hit you, they stick you, and then they just rip you, and they just cut you. The sagebrush kind of starts brushing on you, and then it starts beating the fuck out, and then it opens you up. It's like a grounded pound. Whereas the stuff in South Texas just opens you up. It takes a while, but after that sagebrush, you can look at my legs now. I mean, I got scabs and fucking scars everywhere because that sagebrush.
It looks like maybe abstract art, actually.
It looks like I went to a kindergarten and said, "Hey, y'all get a purple pen and draw shit all over my legs." That's what it looks like. So I've been putting a lot of lotion on my legs, just try to help those scabs heal up. Anyway, so after walking through that brush, the things that I realized about hunting northern Nevada and walking in it, after I started wearing those leggings, don't wear shorts out there. That country out there is too tough. Man, we went up the face of a mountain. Walking up these rocks, and I'm thinking, okay, the other side is going to slope down and get back out on that road. Royce looks at me and goes, well, I guess we'll go down here. And here's the thing, man, when you come from South Texas, when you come from sea level, you're used to being flat at a regular altitude, sea level, and all of a sudden you're up anywhere from 5,000 to 8,000 feet, and you're trying to walk up a steep-ass mountain. And Royce, he's been doing this his whole life. He's not a trained professional athlete. This is what he does. He hikes, he hunts, he looks for arrowheads, but he's out there humping in it. So all of a sudden, my happy ass gets out there, 260 pounds of flat-footed, flatland. That's my specialty, to climbing up them fucking rocks. Every time we were going somewhere, he either had a 30 to 60-yard lead on me that I wasn't going to close. So finally, he'd stop and start glass, and I'd be back there taking a break like... I was trying not to sell this, especially if I'm going to take a shot. Ain't no way I'm going to hit nothing. I'm huffing and puffing too hard. And there's just something about, something to be said for, like a lot of those guys out there that are chucker hunting and stuff like that. They're so used to walking those mountain ranges that it ain't nothing but a thing to them.
Yeah. It
blew me the fuck up. He says, okay, we're going to go down here. He goes, is this going to be good with your knees? And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm good. Shit. It just looked like a goddamn... You ever see that movie? What did Stallone do that movie? Skyscraper or whatever. He's a mountain climber. Remember, he's hanging that scene. He's hanging from that damn mountain with one hand. I don't know what the fuck the movie was called. But I was like, God damn, we're walking down this thing. I'm tripling down off these boulders. I got my gun on my back. I'm trying to hold it. I had my Carhartt jacket on. I take my Carhartt off. I'm overheating. I got my cap off. Fuck, I took my sunglasses off. Fuck it. My eyes were so goddamn red from so much dust and windblown shit. And I'm sitting there, I need a walking stick. I'm damn near blind. I'm trying to follow Royce. Again, he's got about 30, 60 second head start on me. And down at my fucking legs, their blood is just pouring out of my fucking shins and my calves. That's how much him sagebrush is beating the shit out of me.
And you have bad knees.
I got bad knees on top of it. So anyway, long story short, we never saw another buck after that was worth pursuing or old enough to take that would make a logical reason to take it. I didn't want to shoot a young deer. Couldn't shoot a doe because that wasn't on the list of things to do. And then because I was so busy trying to round up all my shit, that I was so organized from us moving into this new place. It wasn't like my South Texas setup where everything is like laid out so that I can just grab it. I know where everything's at and go hunting. This was such an ordeal that I didn't get a chance to turn in that Q&A podcast while I was here in town before I went up there to the hunting lodge. At the hunting lodge, they have a real weak signal. You can't send shit off of it. I thought I would turn my phone into a hotspot, which I've done before, and sent stuff off that, hooking it up on my iPhone through my computer. But we're so far in the middle of nowhere, you can't turn shit into a hotspot. So the last day I told Mitch, I said, this is going to be it. I got to get back and turn in that podcast because, I got to make my deadline. I have never missed a deadline on a show other than the 2 shows that I missed way back. But I always turn my shit in for my producer. So unless there's a place I can drive to, and he goes, Steve, there's not. It's only Winnemucca. Winnemucca's 80 miles there, 80 miles back. And that ain't going to help me out none. So I said, well, fuck it. This will be our last day. We spent that last day in a location glassing, and as the sun was going down, I said, man, guys, let's call it. What my takeaway from this year's mule deer hunting trip was, don't ever wear shorts out in these woods again. The brush is just like South Texas. When you're out there in the elements, you got to dress for the elements. I got to give props to my hiking boots held up. I wasn't wearing tennis shoes this time. The high techs were awesome. When I was dressing for the cold, because I'm a weather sissy, being in South Texas, I can stand the hottest of temperatures, but the cold weather throws me off a little bit. When they tell you to dress in layers, dress in layers. I'd have a base layer on, and then I had 3 shirts on top of that. I had a vest, my hooded jacket, and then my Carhartt on top of that. I had good gloves. I had a balaclava, whatever you call one of those face mask things only your face sticks out of. You remember the thing?
Yeah, I'm trying to think what I used to... Not a muffler, but we used to wear those.
You pull it over your head, and it goes all the way down to your neck, and it's got a hole cut out where your face comes through. I had one of those, and I had a wool cap on top of that, and I had sunglasses. So dress in layers, don't wear shorts, have the proper footwear. If you're hunting, I was prepared to shoot out to 600 yards. I was confident at that. Now that I've done my research on a mule deer, now that I had a chance to really get in the glass, see the glass, almost like, what was that Bill Murray said in Caddyshack, be the ball?
I have no idea.
That's a golf term. He's talking about be the ball.
Okay.
Or Chevy Chase, whoever it was, Chevy Chase. But you gotta be the glass. You gotta look through that glass and try to look for shapes and shit. You're not just scanning. You are fucking looking for detail. And then I think I would invest in a GPS device. Royce had one. Casey had one. Those guys had all been hunting there for 20 or 30 years, so they know the place like the back of their hand. They didn't really need it, but for certain marker points, Royce had on his unit for certain guzzlers or water holes, as they call them. They call them guzzlers. But that's what you need out there. And from what I've been reading, the next time I go, I need to go out there and do some scouting, because that was the only thing that I hadn't done was get out there myself. Now that I've ridden that place so much with Mitch, maybe next time I'll get a chance to get out there and actually do some scouting. He had been hunting that area pretty extensively, and he knows it like the back of his hand, so we hit all the spots where we could have found some deer. But next time, I will probably take the first outstanding or really good deer I see, because the chances are you might not see another animal unless you're able to do a lot of pre-scouting. That is what you want. I had a great time. I want to thank Casey, Royce for helping be the eyes. Thanks to Mitch at Nevada Hunting Services for putting on a damn good hunt. And I want to thank Ken and Don and all those guys down there at the ranch for letting me stay at their place. And all those guys, appreciate the hospitality. I had a great time. I hope to come out there next year, and maybe this time I will be successful. Coming back to close the show, enjoy the recipe of the Broken Skull Ranch Margarita. Please, if you try this recipe out, send me your comments, suggestions, your takeaways, how this tastes to you, to questions@steveaustonshow.com. I want to do a follow-up podcast, and then maybe I'll talk about my Bloody Mary mix the next time we go around. Enjoy the recipe. Enjoy it safely. Kristen, thanks for helping the podcast. I know I did most of the talking.
And the dogs are trying to talk now.
Dogs trying to talk. I drank a Diet Red Bull. I drank my 2 cups of coffee, and that's what I needed to get going. So it's time to get going and put some work in.
All right.
Catch you down the road. You know what's not smart? Job sites that overwhelm you with tons of the wrong resumes. But you know what is smart? ZipRecruiter.com/Steve. Unlike other job sites, ZipRecruiter doesn't wait for candidates to find you. ZipRecruiter finds them for you. Its powerful matching technology scans thousands of resumes, identifies people with the right skills, education, and experience for your job, and actively invites them to apply. That means you get qualified candidates fast. No more sorting through the wrong resumes. No more waiting for the right candidates to apply. Take, for instance, my producer, Sean. His buddy went out there and opened up a coffee shop and was able to staff the establishment with the best baristas in town in just one day using ZipRecruiter. Right now, only for the listeners of the Steve Austin Show, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/Steve. And if you're out there on social media and you're using ZipRecruiter, tag us in a post and let us know. We'll get you a shout out on the podcast. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Steve to try ZipRecruiter for free. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Hey, real quick here, let's give a shout out to my man Diamond Dallas Page and DDP Yoga. Man, I'm still sticking with the regular workouts with the DDP Yoga Now app for months, and I'm feeling like $1,000,000. I'm definitely more limber, more loose than ever before, and I feel great. Have you been looking to get on board with DDP Yoga? Well, there's no excuse not to, because Dallas is giving you 7 days free to try it out. That is a week to try out the program. Explore the app and own your life, and it's completely free. Listen to me. DDP Yoga can work for all ages, all weights, all fitness levels. It's a kick-ass cardio workout that will dramatically increase your flexibility and strengthen your core like never before, all with minimal joint impact. Just for listeners of the Steve Austin Show, you can save 20% off all DVDs and annual memberships for the DDP Yoga Now app. Go to ddpyoga.com/Austin to get started. And check this out. DDP's upcoming book, Positively Unstoppable, The Art of Owning It, is now available for pre-order. Filled with lessons from Page's life that share his own struggle to find his calling, overcoming one obstacle after another, Positively Unstoppable is a Bible for anyone who needs to be re-inspired to follow their dreams and take real action towards the things that matter most to them. Positively Unstoppable will be released January 15, 2019, and is available for pre-order anywhere books are sold. All right, everybody, give me the go-home cue. It's time to wrap up this podcast and ride off in the sunset. And I believe that I'm going to take my Black Lab Cali, get in my Corvette Z06. I haven't driven it in quite a while, and put about 50, 60 miles on that thing. Just cruise around, hit the highways, run a few errands, and enjoy that car before all the snow and winter hits up here in Nevada. Once that stuff hits, that Corvette will be in the shop, not out there in the elements. So I'm going to get my shit in while I can. Anyway, I want to thank my wife for joining me here on the podcast today and helping me break down the Broken Skull Margarita. I've tweaked this recipe. I love this recipe. In my opinion, it's the best recipe for a margarita going, and I'll put my margarita that I hand make head-to-head against any margarita in the United States or in the world for that matter. If you can make a better margarita than me, I challenge you to it any day of the week and twice on Sunday. Please, if you use my recipe, exercise caution, don't go haywire, never drink and drive. If you do have some of these and you are out, have a designated driver. Never, ever drink and drive. I never do that. I walk across to this club to get my margaritas. Well, I don't even go there anymore because I'm such a snob. I make them myself. That's how picky I am with my margarita recipe. And if no one can live up to my standards, I just assume not drink one or drink the ones I make at the house. So be careful with this. Enjoy it. And let me tell you this. If you're going to drink a bunch of margaritas every single day and not work out, you will put on some tonnage. These things, regardless of how you make them, whether someone's selling you a skinny margarita mix or any of that other shit, if you like it, that's fine. Go ahead and drink it. But I'm just saying, anytime you start drinking a whole bunch of alcohol and you're not working out, you're going to gain weight. So I would use these for special occasions, once a week or whatever. But if you drink these sumbitches every single day like I've done during deer season, your ass will put on some weight. So to be forewarned is to be forearmed, and that's coming from the man who's done it all. Damn sure. Myself at the Broken Skull Ranch, hanging out with Ted Fowler 361 on my own time. This is a recipe, as good as it is. If you ain't working out, we'll put weight on your ass. So enjoy it, but don't go crazy with them. While I'm talking about alcohol, I got a damn beer. It's an IPA. If you love IPAs, again, I'll put this IPA head-to-head with any beer in the United States of America. Broken Skull IPAs from El Segundo Brewing Company, formulated by myself and Rob Croxall, the two of us drinking over a table of beer, coming up with this recipe for this badass IPA. You can find it in California. We're not too many other states. Every now and then they'll take a bouquet batch out somewhere, but it's a California beer. It's just too hard to get distribution to get out there. But if you're in Southern California, you can find it at Whole Foods and Total Wines. And if you don't live in Southern California, you are probably shit out of luck. But if you are in L.A. for business, stop by 140 Main Street over there in El Segundo, 4 miles from LAX. Get some fresh out of the tap, or buy a couple of bombers. Those are 22-ounce bottles, and take them with you. If you're looking to get a badass pocket knife, which I highly suggest everybody in the world have, check out the Cold Steel Broken Skull knife. It's a badass, slim, 3-ounce, badass, super sharp knife, or the new working man's knife, a little bit more economically priced. Same quality, That Broken Skull's a sumbitch, though. You can check out the Working Man knife as well at my new Amazon store. Amazon's got the best price on both knives. Just go to amazon.com/shop/Steve Austin or go directly to the Cold Steel Knives website. I want to say one more thank you to all the fine sponsors of the Steve Austin Show, especially betonline.ag, Geico, ZipRecruiter, DDP Yoga, and TrueCar. That's how I'm able to do this podcast for you twice a week for free. Please support them because they support us. And if you need more info on my sponsors, check out the show description to this episode for details. Folks, I am on social media. I'll be posting my margarita recipe on my Instagram page, pictures of all the ingredients, everything that you'll need to make this thing, along with the actual recipe that I wrote by hand in my handwriting so you can read it and have it for future reference. I always take a picture of stuff like that, so I always have it if I want to dial it up. More organized people would put it in a file. I just keep it in my picture section of my iPhone. Well, I know it by heart, but it's always good to have something to refer to, and I wanted to have it in front of me while I gave you this recipe today. So Twitter and Instagram, I am at Steve Austin BSR. Folks, until next time, my name is Steve Austin, and I will catch your ass down the road.
This has been a Podcast One production. Download new episodes of The Steve Austin Show every Tuesday at PodcastOne.com. That's PodcastOne.com.
All right, before we ride off, here's some useful car tips you might not be aware of. Putting your floor mat under your tires in the winter can help get your car out of snow. Removing excess weight from your car will improve gas mileage. Oh, and if you live in California, put your parking brake on whenever you park. Every time. Are you ready for one more tip you might not know about? TrueCar also helps people get used cars. That's right. TrueCar ain't just for buying new cars. With their certified dealer network and nationwide inventory of nearly 1 million used cars, you'll enjoy real pricing on actual inventory and a simpler buying experience, whether you buy new or used. And with TrueCar, users can see what others paid, so they know if they're getting a good deal before buying. They're also more likely to enjoy a faster buying experience by connecting with TrueCar certified dealers. When you're ready to buy a new or used car, check out TrueCar and enjoy a more confident car buying experience. Some features not available in all states.